It's been the big story, isn't it? What happened after the Manchester derby, dominating the newspapers. Of course, reports of that scuffle in the Manchester City dressing room. Jose Mourinho going to tell them to turn the music down, apparently. This is what the two managers had to say about the incident.
Can you tell us any details of
No.
Jose Mourinho coming into the room or anything like that?
No. I'm not going to comment about that.
Do you feel as if the celebrations maybe were too much?
No, definitely not. The team who wins is happy and celebrate inside the room. It's what we did. Of course, the situation in Old Trafford is, of course, when you go to the home locker room, you have to pass in front of the away locker room. But we were inside celebrating. That is normal. We didn't anything exceptional what we have done that season in the past and would happen in the future. But always, we respect for our opponents.
He says, you know. I'm not here to comment his words. The only thing I can say is that for me was just a question of diversity. Diversity in behaviors, diversity in education, just that, and nothing more than that.
You said everything was self-contained in their locker room. There was celebrations.
No, I have nothing more to say.
Can we move on to any questions about Bournemouth?
Jose, why did you go into their dressing room?
No, excuse me. Can we go on to the second part then, please?
I don't think there were any questions about Bournemouth.
I think there's a couple at the end. I wish there's got to be footage. We've got to see it.
If there was a hypocrisy alert, surely it would be going off around Jose Mourinho at the moment, suggesting that when his teams have won in the past, that he's never celebrated any sort of style or any sort of rubbing it into their opposition's face.
Do you mean like running on pitches or up and down touchlines?
There are so many examples, and this is the strain. You surely cannot take what Mourinho's saying seriously.
No, 100%, no.
I didn't even understand what he said.
Well, diversity.
Well, he said he's talking
education.
What's that all about? Well, he's talking about education. He's trying to say an education in how to behave is the way I'm taking it.
Yeah.
An education how your manners should be and your respect should be to an opponent after a game. But I mean, we could roll out umpteen different scenarios of him being disrespectful and running on. Look, at the end of the day, if City did, and I've no reason to not believe, if they go in the dressing room and celebrate, what the hell's the problem with that?
Yeah.
That's his biggest problem here is, I think this is diversity. This is another diversion.
Yeah.
This is a great diversion.
It's a captain deflector.
Because they were awful.
Right.
They were awful and got outplayed, and that's the bottom line here. So I hope they do find out exactly what goes on, and whoever was involved.
You would have thought some footage would have come out by now, though. I mean, if somebody was filming,
it's quite narrow up that.
Yeah, it's not the biggest. So
when the tunnel's really wide as you come up from that corner, and then as you come up, it takes a left. Right, and it's very narrow in there, and you go in. The Man City, the referee's room's the first one to go in. So the referee, I was listening to Dermot Gallagher last night, former Premier League referee, and he was saying the chances of the referee or the officials having seen anything are slim.
They would have already been.
Hold on. He's basically saying
it's by the by.
They've got no class.
I don't care about the blueprint of Old Trafford. What I care about is Jose Mourinho complaining about other managers celebrating.
Jose Mourinho is saying they don't have any class, right? Now, the only thing you know is if Jose Mourinho was going in that dressing room, he wasn't going in to congratulate them. Because I've never seen him getting hit with a bottle, a pie, a sandwich or anything when they've been congratulating the opposition. Yeah. So what is he doing? So he's complaining about class. How unclassy is it to go into the opposition dressing room after you've lost and complain about anything? I mean, the guy's just not right.
Is he losing it?
I think the pressure's getting to him. The fact that the team are getting all the praise of the blue half of Manchester is right on his doorstep. Right, they're playing great. They're top of the league. They've got a great draw in the Champions League as well. And his team's been criticised. But I tell you one thing: you don't go to any team's door and say, "Listen, lads, keep the noise down." It's not an old folks' home. It's not a curfew.
It's a hotel room the night before. Excuse me, guys.
Sid Lowe is with us, and Sid, obviously you know both of these managers well from their time in Spain, and I know you were telling us off air this story has dominated Spanish newspapers, loving the fracas afterwards. What do you make of it, or particularly from the Mourinho point of view?
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems to me one of the things that Mourinho's done, I think we've all seen this, haven't we, in the build-up to getting the Manchester United job, and since getting the Manchester United job, and even years ago, the one manager that he was deferential to all the time was Alex Ferguson. All the time. The only one that he never really challenged. And Ferguson went on about City being the noisy neighbours. He's now just trying to follow that through and go and tell them to shut up. And it's just bizarre. I mean, it's just bizarre. And as you say, I mean, look, right, I personally am of the opinion that celebrations are fine anyway, even the fairly provocative ones on the pitch. I think we sometimes forget that the tensions are high, we forget the excitement of it all, and I don't see a big problem with celebrations. But if you're the person who's done some of the celebrations that Mourinho's done, to then go and ask Man City to keep it down when they're inside the dressing room is bizarre. And to give you another example, that famous image of Mourinho running on the pitch at the Camp Nou after Inter Milan had knocked them out of the semi-final of the Champions League with his finger up when Victor Valdés went over to him and said, look, don't wind it up. You're in front of the fans. Don't wind it up. And actually, I thought Valdés was relatively calm now. Anyway, that image, life-size, cardboard cutout version of that image was in Jose Mourinho's manager's office when he was at Real Madrid. Right, so it's not like that was a moment that he kind of got a bit out of control and thought, oh, I feel a bit ashamed of that. He had that every single day staring at him when he was Real Madrid manager. So, yeah, it is bizarre. And as you say, this is something that has fascinated the Spanish. It's been all over the news here. It's been much, much bigger than anything else happening in Spain. I suppose it helps that there's no midweek games. And so much so that they've done things like some of the stuff we've seen on the English paper, you know, the maps of the dressing rooms and showing how it could be and doing recreations of what might have happened. And, yeah, I think the Spanish have quite enjoyed this for the most part.
Stevie, did you have a large cutout of yourself when you were manager of the Reds?
He did, but he couldn't get in the door. You get one in Mariner.
That is bizarre, by the way.
What does it tell you about his state at the moment, really?
Listen, anybody who has something like that of themselves in their own room, their ego's out.
Yeah, but we know that about Mourinho. We know he's got a big ego. That's not news to us, is it? The problem is, in the past, he's been able to deliver. And now he's in real trouble.
Do you know, the only thing he's been able to deliver, well, the only thing, he's been able to deliver trophies, right? But as far as talking about anything else, you can't believe anything that comes out of his mouth. He says, all he ever says is what is going to suit him and what's going to suit what it looks like to his team. Forget the truth or being honest or any of that stuff. He just makes it up to suit him and his team.